The email arrived at 2:17 a.m. Subject line, final revision attached. Emma Whitaker was still awake, barefoot in her kitchen. Laptop open, city lights bleeding through the glass. She had been waiting for this message for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of silence after she refused to sell her company for half of what it was worth. She didn't open the attachment immediately. Instead, she replayed the meeting in her head. The polished conference table, the soft leather chairs, the faint scent of expensive cologne. Across from her had sat Daniel Mercer, CEO of Halbrecht Industries, a man who built his empire on acquisitions. "You've built something impressive," Daniel had said smoothly, "but scale requires muscle. We can give you that." Emma had smiled. At the right valuation. He didn't like that. Now, at 2:17 a.m., his team had sent a final revision. Emma clicked. The contract was 147 pages long. Legal language, tight formatting, track changes removed. She skimmed. Purchase price, adjusted slightly upward. Equity clause, restructured. Board control, shifted. Her jaw tightened. They had altered the voting rights. Subtly, if she signed this version, she would be removed as CEO within 90 days. They thought she wouldn't notice. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. "Burning the midnight oil?" Daniel's voice was calm. "You altered the governance structure," she said. A pause. "We clarified it. You stripped my controlling interests. You'll still be very wealthy." Emma walked to the window. "You sent this at 2 a.m. hoping I'd sign without reading. We sent it because we're closing other deals tomorrow. This is your window." There it was. Pressure. "Sign by noon," he continued, "or the offer drops." Emma looked back at her screen. Page 146. The clause was still there. She almost smiled. "I'll review it," she said quietly. "Good choice." He hung up. Emma didn't sleep. Instead, she called her attorney at 6 a.m. By 8:30, she was sitting across from him in his office, sunlight cutting across stacks of paper. "They gutted your authority," her attorney said bluntly. "I know." "You walk away." Emma leaned forward, checked section 12.4. He flipped pages, stopped, read, then read again. A slow grin spread across his face. They forgot to remove it. Exactly. Section 12.4 was a clause Daniel himself had insisted on during early negotiations, a performance-based acceleration clause. If Halbrecht Industries initiated structural changes that materially reduced the founder's operational control within the first 12 months, the full acquisition price would immediately double, payable within 30 days, or the contract would automatically void and revert ownership entirely back to founder. At the time, Daniel had framed it as mutual protection. In truth, it was a trap for aggressive restructuring. They altered the contract, but they forgot one clause. Her attorney looked up. "If you sign this and they push you out, they'll owe double. And if they refuse, the contract voids. I take everything back." He leaned back slowly. "They'll never expect you to sign." Emma closed the folder. That's the point. At 11:42 a.m., she walked into Halbrecht's headquarters. Glass towers, marble floors, assistants who didn't smile. Daniel met her in the boardroom. "You look rested," he said. "I make decisions quickly." He slid a pen across the table. "Once this is done," he added, "you'll finally have freedom." Emma met his eyes. "Freedom is overrated." She signed. Daniel's smile widened. 3 months later, the press release hit. Halbrecht appoints new CEO for Whitaker Tech subsidiary. Emma read it while sitting in her living room. She wasn't surprised. Her access card stopped working that afternoon. Her email was disabled by evening. At 7 p.m., Daniel called. "It's business," he said. "Nothing personal." "You triggered section 12.4, Emma replied calmly. "Silence. I'm sorry. Structural change. Material reduction of founder control within 12 months. Another pause. That clause was neutralized in revision. "No," she said softly. "You altered the governance section. You didn't touch 12.4. paper shuffling on the other end. That's impossible. It's on page 146. The line went quiet for 10 seconds, then 20. That clause will require double payment within 30 days, Emma finished, or automatic reversion of ownership. That's not enforceable. It's signed. You wouldn't dare. Emma looked at the skyline. You removed me as CEO. You signed knowing the structure. I signed knowing you would. His breathing changed. You set this up. You altered the contract. Another silence. You'll never see that money, he said finally. Then I'll see my company again. She hung up. What followed was not public. No headlines. No interviews. Just 30 days of legal warfare. Halbrecht's board scrambled. Investors panicked. Analysts questioned the acquisition structure. Daniel called twice more. The second time, his tone was different. What do you want? Emma considered the question. I want my company back. With interest. You're asking for a complete unwind. You triggered it. That clause was never meant to be used. Then you shouldn't have forgotten it. On day 28, her attorney called. They're wiring the funds. Emma closed her eyes. How much? Full double payment. Her company valuation had doubled in 3 months, which meant the penalty doubled too. Daniel chose survival. 30 minutes later, the funds cleared. Emma transferred the original acquisition amount back to Halbrecht under the reversion terms. Ownership restored, plus profit, plus leverage, plus reputation. The market reacted instantly. Halbrecht stock dipped. Whitaker Tech surged. Daniel never called again. 6 months later, Emma stood in a renovated office space. Larger, brighter, entirely hers. An employee approached nervously. Is it true, he asked, that you planned all of it? Emma smiled faintly. No, but you expected it? She looked out across her team. I expected them to underestimate me. That night, she received one final email. No subject line, just 2 words. Well played. She didn't reply. Instead, she opened a new document, titled Expansion Strategy. Because here's what Daniel never understood. Emma hadn't signed to win a lawsuit. She signed because she knew power reveals character. They revealed theirs. She protected hers. And in the end, the clause they forgot wasn't just legal language. It was leverage. And leverage, when used correctly, doesn't just protect you, it multiplies you. Halbrecht Industries would recover. Daniel Mercer would continue making deals. But every time he turned to page 146 in a contract after that, he would pause. And somewhere in the city, Emma Whitaker would be building something no one could quietly rewrite again. Do you think Emma did the right thing? Are you satisfied with what happened to Daniel? Or should have ended it on a different note? What is your take on this story, and have you experienced something similar, or do you know someone who has? Like and share this video. Drop your thoughts about it in the comment. Also, subscribe to this channel if you truly believe and support justice. Would you like to watch similar stories? Comment yes below.